Okay, fifth graders, today we have a few presentations. Hopefully they don't take us very long. Your first presentation is your next set of reading analysis, set 4, card 1. Okay, we have worked through the adverb of manner. We have worked through the adverb of time. And now we are working through the adverb of place. Okay, the adverb of place. So we have 4 sentences. Sentence 1 says, Julie took the books to the library. Okay, so we would work through this sentence using our questions. What is the action? Took. Who is it that took? Julie. Now this one has a direct object. What did Julie take? What did she take? The books. The next question, which is the new question, is where did Julie take the books? To the library, and that would be the adverb of place. Okay? So remember, if you have a subject, a predicate, and a direct object, they go in the straight line. The adverb of place comes diagonal below the direct object. Okay? Any questions on this? No? You're good. Okay. All right. The next thing is our persons of pronouns study. Last week we did a persons of pronoun review, or 2 weeks ago. Okay, this week we are going to be recreating these charts on either your computer day or on a piece of white computer paper. Okay, so this chart number 1, we are talking about first person singular. First person singular. What pronoun is first person singular with it? I. Okay? So I is the one who speaks, or I is the one who acts. Okay? This red circle, let's talk about it. It says this first verb and pronoun chart has a red circle to symbolize the verb. This chart represents speaking or acting. Okay? So you are just recreating this exact chart on the computer. Okay? Now we are focusing on the pronoun I. Okay? So first person singular, I. And this time it's golden. Golden is used to represent the importance of the first person, who is yourself. Okay? So it says this chart represents the importance of the pronoun I. The first person pronoun I is the most important because it represents the one who speaks. Because it is the most important, the pronoun I on this chart is represented by a golden circle, or the sun. Okay? Does that make sense? So again, you are either recreating these charts on a piece of white computer paper, and if you choose to do that, you need to draw lines with a ruler and make sure your writing is nice and neat. If you choose to do it on the computer, you don't have to really do all that because the computer does it for you. Okay? Any questions about this? Okay. All right. In geometry, we have been talking a lot about area. Okay, a lot about area. And when we are talking about area, so far we have talked about a square or a rectangle. When we are finding the area of a square or a rectangle, what is my formula? What is my formula, Shara? That's volume. Take length times width, okay? So for a 3-dimensional shape, we would be finding volume. But I'm not finding volume, I'm finding area of a flat shape, okay? Of a flat shape. So it's only 2 dimensions since it's a flat shape, and it is length times width, Or we have used its sister formula, we'll call it its sister formula, base times height, okay? So if I wanted to find the area of this rectangle, I would simply multiply the base times the height. Okay, everybody's good with that, right? It's been pretty easy. So now we are going to move on to our second shape, okay? To our second shape. Here is my rectangle, okay? I'm trying to not spoil the surprise for you, okay? Here's my second shape. My first is based off of my first shape, okay? So my rectangle, base times height. So now, if I asked you to find the area of my second shape is going to be a triangle. Do you agree that this is a rectangle? I would do base times height, right? But if I want to find the area of a triangle, what happens? What happened, Griffith? I divided it by 2. Because what did I do here to my rectangle? I did what? I split it in half. Okay? So the area formula for a triangle is base times height, which is our rectangle. But then because a triangle is half of a rectangle, we will divide it by 2. Okay? So this is the area of our rectangle, base times height. To find the area of my triangle, I do the same thing, but then I divide it by 2. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Good. All right. So let's talk about our area packet. Okay? So area packet 11 has several different triangles. Okay? And it tells you to use the formula base times height divided by 2. And that is exactly what you will use. Okay? So if we are looking at this triangle, okay, we would first need to count the base, okay? So starting at one point and going to the other point on the bottom for the base, we are going to count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the base of this triangle is 4, okay? Now to find the height, I need to go from the tallest point of the triangle, okay? And we're going to go straight down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the height of this triangle is 5. So in your head, let's multiply 5 times 4, which is 20, and then divide it by 2, which is 10. So it takes 10 square units to create this triangle. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, there are a few, I know you're cold, I'm going to turn it down up in just a second. Okay? There are several on these packets that get a little tricky, okay? Because the triangle is not resting on its base. So for question number 2, question number 6, and question number 7, the triangles are not resting on their base, okay? The triangles are actually sideways. So for question number 2, you need to turn the paper like this. This is the base of the triangle, okay? It is a right-angled triangle. In fact, so is number 6 and so is number 7, okay? So always make sure the right angle is here, okay? So if we did the base, it would be 1, 2, And the height from the tallest point would be 1, 2 as well. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then divide that by 2 would be 2. Does that make sense? So the same thing with number 6. This is not the base. It's a right angle triangle. This is the base, and this is the height. Okay, does that make sense? I will leave them circled on here so that you know which ones they are. I'll fix that. Okay, so the ones with my black circle around are the ones that you need to tilt a little bit. Okay, I'll fix that so it looks a little bit neater. All right, so let's talk about how you are going to write this. Your name, date, and title. Okay, there are 8 triangles. You must find the area for all 8, but you need to draw 6 of them. Okay, you need to draw 6 of them using a ruler and the light box if needed. Okay, if you don't draw it, that is just fine, but you need to do the math. Choose 6 of them to draw. I probably wouldn't choose this one, okay, because that's going to be the hardest one to trace. Any questions about that? You're good? Okay. All right. Here's your next and last presentation. Yep. It is decimal card 22. Okay? Decimal card 22. All right, that's your title. Decimal card 22. Ava, show Ava how to write her name, date, and title. Darren didn't do it. Write your name here, the date here, and your title in the middle. Everything we do, Ava, follows that same pattern, okay? Today's date is 10/19. And your title is on the board, decimal card 22. Okay. All right. So, decimal card 22 is going to be about dividing whole numbers that have a decimal answer. Okay? So we are dividing whole numbers that have a decimal answer. There are no decimals in our question. Okay? So number 1, and I start putting a circle around. Miss Blanco, can we hit the up button like 2 or 3 times on that? They're freezing. Okay. I started putting a circle around my problems because if we're dealing with decimals, what does that look like? A decimal point, right? So since we're dealing with decimals on this card, I started putting a circle around our question numbers, okay? You do not have to do that. It's just something that I do, okay? So problem number 1 is 3 wholes divided by 2 wholes, okay? 3 wholes divided by 2 wholes. Now, you will have to do long division to figure out this answer, okay? This one's fairly easy, so chances are you already know the answer, but you are going to show me in long division, okay? To do long division, I always get confused with which number goes inside the bar and which number goes outside the bar, okay? And if you do it flip-flop, you get it wrong every time, okay? So this one, I always just draw a diagonal, okay? Again, you don't have to do that, but it's just what I do. Okay, so this one goes outside the bar, and the 3 goes inside the bar. Okay, so you need to rewrite this problem as far like this for long division. Okay? Okay. Now we are going to do long division to solve. 2 times what number gets me close to 3 without going over, Viren? 1. And 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract, and I have a remainder of 1. Now, I do not want a remainder, so in order to continue this problem and divide until there's no remainder, we are going to put a decimal here and a decimal here. It's going to travel straight up. And I'm going to put a 0. 3.0 is the same as 3 wholes. I have not changed the value. But now I can put my 0 down here, and I treat this as a 10. So 2 times what number gives me 10? Sharp? 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract, and I have a remainder of 0. Now I am done. So 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Box your answer so I know that that is your final answer. Okay. Can I erase? Okay. Number 2. Number 2 is 4 divided by 3. So I need to rewrite it in long division. And it will look like this. Okay. Now if we're ready to do long division, 3 times what number gets me close to 4 without going over? Sharp? 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract, and we have that remainder of 1. We don't want that pesky remainder, so we put a decimal here. It comes straight up. And we put a 0. And it's a 10. Maggie, 3 times what number gets me close to 10? 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. Guess what? We have a remainder of 1.
You're just going to go on forever.
Again, we put another 0. Three times what number gets me close to 10? Viren. 3. Ay, ay, ay. 3 times 3 is 9. What do you notice it's doing?
It goes on forever.
It goes on and on and on and on forever. So this is a repeating decimal because no matter how many times I do this, I'm going to have a 3 here. So there is a symbol that shows that a number is repeating, and it looks like this. It's just a simple bar. Okay, it's a simple bar. So this means 1.3 repeating. You put a bar over the repeating number to show that that number is repeating. Okay? So 1.3 repeating. We're going to do one more and then we're done. Number 3 is 12 divided by 5. Okay. 5 can't go into the 1, so I'm not even going to put that X anymore. You can can put a 0 if you want. I'm not even gonna put that X. I just know that I'm going to go over the 2 here because it's going into 12 and not 1. So 5 times what number, Bella, gets me close to 12? 2. And 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract and I have a remainder of 2. Again, I don't want that pesky remainder. It's right there. You want to put it in? No? So I'm going to put a decimal here and a decimal in my answer. It's going to go straight up. And I'm putting a 0. I'm bringing it down and now it's a 20. 5 times what number gives me 20, Bella? 4. It's 20 exactly. I have a remainder of 0, so I know I am done. So 2.4 is my answer. Do you have any questions about this? Okay. You will notice on my card that there are 10 problems, but only 8 of them are circled. You only have to do these 8 circled problems. The 4 and 6, they just go on and on and on and on forever. I mean, not forever, but they went on quite far, okay? If you want to challenge yourself and do 4 and 6, go for it. Okay? All right, any questions about this? Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. All right, 5th grade, you are done. You may go back to your seats.